If you've never played the game Cashflow Quadrant, shame on you. But with that being said, on this video, I want to walk you through what this game is all about, why it's so important, why you want to be playing this on a consistent basis, and an experience and story that I had with a multi-million-dollar real estate investor that showed me how to play this game to get so much more out of it, to teach me the lessons that I actually need to learn so that I can start building real wealth. What's up, guys? My name is Nico Arapolis. Trust you're having a beautiful day, and let's get started on the game Cashflow Quadrant. I want to walk you through exactly what this game is all about, what my experience has been, and as I mentioned, I had a really powerful experience with someone that shifted my perspective on the game as a whole, because I kind of had put that game down for quite some time. I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki, who he is the inventor of this game. And so I'm a big fan of games, as you guys, a lot of you guys know on this channel. If you're a subscriber, if you're not, welcome here, and I'd encourage you to subscribe. If you're looking to learn business, entrepreneurship, mindsets, personal development, subconscious reprogramming, and becoming the best version of yourself and the best business owner of yourself so that you can impact all the people around you. Okay, so I read the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad. It's a phenomenal book. It's a great starting book. I kind of look at it as a gateway book. So many people talk about how Rich Dad, Poor Dad was one of the first books that they read that got them into the world of entrepreneurship and investing and building their business. Right, and it's so that's why I say it's a gateway book or gateway drug, if you will, and it was really powerful. And it wasn't my first book. Rich Dad Poor Dad was probably in the 3 to 5 range book. Think and Grow Rich was one of my first ones. Psycho-Cybernetics was one of my first ones. But it definitely was one of the books that had a big, strong impact on me. And the book is essentially about this guy that has 2 different dads. One is a rich dad, one is a poor dad. Obviously, you can concur that by the title. But basically what it is, he was getting all these lessons from his rich dad. And supposedly his rich dad was actually that guy named Richard Cunningham, who wrote the book The Road Less Stupid. So he got all these lessons from the rich dad, and he obviously inadvertently got all these lessons from the poor dad that were not great advice. But he got these lessons from the rich dad, talking about the cash flow quadrant, where there's 4 different sections that signify where you are, whether you're an employee or you're self-employed or you're a business owner or you're an investor, right? And so ultimately what Robert Kiyosaki talks about substantially in that book is how you really want to get to the point where you are an investor and investing into stocks, bonds, real estate. And that's ultimately what his approach is. He wants to help you get to a point where you are simply just investing into businesses, into assets, so that you can have that money grow for you, as opposed to working for money all the time. Because if you're always working for money, you're essentially in the rat race. And this is all correlating to the game that I'm going to share with you here in a second. But as long as you're just trading time for money, you are essentially in the rat race. So it's the biggest goal, as what he explains, is to get out of the rat race, meaning that your passive income exceeds your fixed expenses, or your living expenses, your expenses as a whole, right? So once your passive income exceeds your living expenses, exceeds your expenses, that means you are now out of the rat race. And so that's when you can really start investing. That's when you can really start moving along the path of life, where it gets a lot more fun and enjoyable, and you just keep on building and stacking, kind of like it's Monopoly, but the deck is more so stacked in your favor. And so I tell you all of that because I learned this from this book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad. He has other ones too, Cashflow Quadrant. And so it's a really powerful book, and he talks about how this is all great information, but you need to go out there and apply it. And so going in, get into a real estate deal, stocks, bonds, like all these different things, and then obviously like crypto and different things that are going on now. These are great, but they all come with like a big learning curve. And if you're putting your real money on, then people do it, of course, but he wanted to find some way that he could help people really start applying this stuff before they really started putting their money into it. Okay. So what he did, as you might concur here, or you might, figure, is that he put together this game. And so it's a board game that's called Cashflow Quadrant. And the way that I like to describe it is it's like Monopoly, but for real life. And it basically depicts exactly what I'm sharing with you all before here, is that it's a game to show you how you're in the rat race in the beginning, and you're in the rat race until your passive income exceeds your expenses. And once you get out of that stage where your passive income does exceed your expenses, then you are no longer in the rat race, and you're on the fast track, is what he calls it. And then that's where it gets fun. That's where you go on all these vacations. You can go on a flight with all your friends to the Maldives, and you can invest into churches and organizations and nonprofits, and you really get to live the life that you want to live. Like, you get to go on a Mediterranean cruise if you land on that one, and you can pick that up depending on how much cash flow you have, how many assets you have. And it's a really, really fun game. But here is the caveat, is I actually bought that game years ago, probably like 4 years ago, when I read the book and I really dove into the book, right? And we played it, and it was cool. I had a little mastermind group that we played with, and it was cool because it was Monopoly, right? It has all the paper money, and it's great. But the thing was, it was taking us forever. Like, we would sit down and it would take us like 4 or 5 hours, and it was just like, gosh, I don't know if I have time for this, counting all the money and all this type of stuff. It was just like, it seemed more trouble than it was worth. And I kind of put it back down. Okay. And that was years ago. Okay. So I played it maybe once, twice, and I was like, okay, I get the concept. It's cool, but it just seems complicated, tracking all these like ledgers that you had to type things out. And then I met a lady at an event recently, and I was telling her a little bit more about Vision Espresso and how we help entrepreneurs get clarity. And it all starts with the vision quiz, and we help entrepreneurs increase their clarity by up to 108% in less than 20 minutes. That's how our technology has been created. It's taken me, $250,000 in research and development over the last 20 years to build out the vision quiz, and then everything else Vision Espresso that really helps entrepreneurs reprogram their subconscious mind to believe that they are the person that is capable of anything and everything. And I was telling her all about this stuff, and she just was like looking at me in awe. I had no idea who this lady was. Come to find out, she's a multi-million-dollar real estate investor. She has hundreds of millions of dollars of debt in real estate. She just bought a data center, and she's doing deals it seems like every other day, right? And so I didn't know any of this, but when I'm explaining all of this of what Vision Espresso is all about, and then our end product is an audio from our future self that's in our voice that has a subconscious frequencies in there, and it really reprograms your subconscious. And then I listen to that every day, and then we have it in the app, and it's gamified, and the whole thing about Vision Espresso and how we have our clients going through that. They listen to it every day, and the more they listen to it, the more they believe it, the more they reprogram their subconscious. I've been doing it for 5 years myself, and that's how I've really rewired my mind. So I was telling her all this stuff, and it was really cool. And I was kind of like perplexed, confused, and somewhat excited when I was telling her. I was just giving her the short story around it all, and she just kind of looked at me, and she didn't say much. She was just like really smiling. I could tell like there's something about it that she was just like, I get it. I could tell that she just got it. And before I even knew anything about her, and then I was telling her all about it, and she's like, I love this. I absolutely love it. And she was telling me, she's like, I've been doing that for years. It's what all the most successful people in the world do. The millionaires, the billionaires, this is what they do. And she's like, I've been telling my clients to go do this for a long time, but they haven't actually gone and done it because it's kind of complicated to do it, right? She's like, wow, you have put together a system to do this? I was like, yeah. And so she was just blown away. And it was a really cool interaction. And then we've started slowly building a relationship. And one of the things that she loves doing with all her clients and her audience and her people and her community is they play Cashflow Quadrant, right? She has these nights where they all play, right? And they get together in person to play the game. They have like 4 or 5 different games playing at a time. And so I went to this I went to this game night with everybody, and it was in this really cool. It's a club. They've got a lot of exotic cars in there, and it's pretty cool spot. They've got like the Batman lights on the top, and it's cool. And I've been there a time or two, and then so I went in there. There's a bunch of different games playing, and we're playing there, and I was just like, this is interesting. I'm excited to play, but I'm also thinking back to the times that I played when it was like convoluted, and we had to organize all the papers and this and write down all the ledgers and all this stuff. And I was like, and then this lady, her name's Catherine, she showed us that there's an app. And I was like, of course there's an app. Duh, why wouldn't there be an app? So we download the app, and the app takes care of literally everything. It takes care of everything. We don't have to write anything. We don't have to hand out cash and have a banker and all this stuff. It's literally so simple. And so it was really just cool to have that experience where it's like, wow, we went from analog to digital so quickly. It's easy. It's nice. Right. And then we're still playing and we're going around our circle, and nothing's really going that well. Like, we're all still very much in the rat race, even though we've got the app and it's cool. We're playing round and round and round, and it just didn't feel like it was going anywhere. And so Catherine comes over to me and our group, and she's like, okay, so I want to teach you guys something here, and this is why this is really, really important, and you're going to recognize as you actually start applying this stuff into the investing world, into the business growth world, is that it's so important to be intentional. It's so important to be clear on where you're going. It's so important to know what you want, and it's so important to really rehearse all of that into your mind. Right? So here is how it all plays out. So with this particular game is that there's a dice, right? And so you have 2 dice, and then you roll them, and then based on where you are on the game, on your particular place, you can see what score you want or what roll that you want, whether it's a 2, whether it's a 5, whether it's a 7, whether it's a 9. Like, you can tell which score on the dice that you want in order that's going to set you up the best. So you don't land on a doodad, so you actually land on an opportunity. And you can actually start moving and getting things and investing in things and really playing the game, right? And so she's like, so what I encourage you to do is grab the dice. If you're like, okay, I need a 5, 7, or 9, then you see it in your eyes. And you close your eyes, you see a 5, 7, or 9. You really just sit there, you feel it, and then you roll, right? Sounds a little woo-woo, right? But she was explaining, like, this is how it works. And she's like, this is why I love what you're doing, what you're building with Vision Espresso, because you've literally built a system to help people just do this. And this is a game, obviously, but this is how it works in the real world when you're buying hundreds of millions of dollars worth of real estate, because your energy has to be clean. You have to be intentional. And that's how it absolutely works, right? And so I was like, all right, cool. Sounds good. Let's do it. I grab the dice. I do the thing. I'm like, okay, I believe it was like a 6 or an 8 or maybe a 10. And so I like visualize either one of those numbers, and I just visualize it. I sit there for a second, and I'm like, okay, see it, I feel it, and I roll. Hit the number that I needed, landed on an opportunity card, pulled up that, got an investment, put some money down, made that investment. The next person, and mind you, again, before all of this, before Catherine came over and explained all this to us, our whole table was just like, meh. Okay? So once I landed, boom, the energy shifted and changed for me, but then everyone else was like, oh, cool. Yeah, let me do it. And everyone started doing that. And literally, like, I picked up, I got the investment, the next roll, the person next to me rolled and then cashed in on my investment. I got a huge lump sum back. Then I could reinvest, and then boom, I was like out of the rat race in like maybe a couple rolls when we were just like meh before that. And so it was just like, wow, this is fascinating, because like everything that I teach and install with our entrepreneurs in here, it's playing out in real time. Yes, it's on a game, but as Catherine explains, is that like this is how it works in the real world. And so that's why it's so imperative to be locked in, to be dialed in, to be very clear on what you want and to visualize it and to feel it and really have your energy so clean and tight that it benefits you by that. And that's why she talks about like the work that you do isn't necessarily always for the younger people and the people in the early stage entrepreneurs. Yes, it helps for sure. And she's like, yeah, that's where your vision quiz will really help out a lot of people in the earlier stages. But like your full vision espresso system, that's why it's absolutely game changer. So she like, it was just really cool hearing that type of endorsement from her. And, it just made me realize that we're really onto something. But this is, it's very advanced, and the people that really adopt it, the game as well as the approach, that's when everything changes. And so, I'd strongly encourage you to pick up the game Cashflow Quadrant. I bought it a long time ago. I don't really know where you would get it. I think it's probably on Amazon or wherever. I think it even might be a couple $100, but well worth it, because it starts getting you in the mode of like really looking for opportunities in a different way. And that's how I've looked at it. I'm not necessarily an investor. I'm really focusing on building my business and my company right now, but it's helping me like see opportunities in a completely different way. And she's like talking about how it like changes your brain ontologically, which basically means that like you're actually seeing the game as you would see in real life. And it like really starts changing your mind on how you see things. And like you start looking at things of how you can put money here and get investment back here. And it's really, really cool. So I highly recommend it. I highly recommend that you play it on a consistent basis. You play it with friends that also want to grow financially, abundantly, that they like want better for themselves and their families. Because like the more that you play this, and the more people I've met that play this game, they're just on a different wave. They just understand things that people don't necessarily see. So it's really cool. And on top of that, it's really, really important to take that approach that I was sharing and just be very clear on what you want. Be very clear on where you're going. Rehearse that. See it in your mind. Feel it in your body. We talk about that kind of stuff on this channel all the time, right? And that's why we built out this system, so that you don't have to like think about it as much, and it just becomes your new habit. Okay. So that's what I got. I really wanted to share that. That story happened a couple months ago now, and I was like, I need to share that with the people on my YouTube. So it's a really powerful experience. It was a really powerful experience. I highly encourage you to start diving into Cashflow Quadrant by Rich Dad Poor Dad. And I strongly encourage you to dive into Rich Dad Poor Dad stuff. It just starts getting you thinking differently. And the better that you're thinking, the better that your life's going to be. Again, that's just the ethos that I'm all about. That's what this channel is all about. And the more that you can truly adopt that, every single level you go down and deeper, you start understanding exactly what this is all about more and more every single day. Okay, so just dive into the work, keep doing the work. And if you want to go take the vision quiz, that's the best place that we can recommend that you start. If you go ahead and click the link down in the video description, it'll take you over there. You can check it out. 20 minutes is all it takes. It will increase your clarity by up to 108%. That's at least what's happened to a lot of other entrepreneurs. So have an amazing day. Subscribe to the channel. Make sure and go check out some of the other videos, and we'll see you on the next one.